Good evening. It is Sunday, September 11th, and I'm going to be doing a drive of my Northeast Minneapolis Test Loop with FSD Beta 10.69.2. As you recall, I've done this same video and same drive with 69.1 as well as 69.1.1 as well. So I'm very eager to see if the behavior with pedestrians is a little more confident. As I saw a little bit of regression in 1.1, and .1 was worse, but .1 was still not as confident as I've seen it in previous releases prior to that. The unprotected left behavior is obviously the best it's ever been, so I'm looking forward to seeing maybe a bit more polishing on those. We're going to take it through, after this video, I'm going to be doing another follow-up of my St. Anthony Parkway unprotected left turn test, where we're going to try to make that left turn a few times off of Johnson Street there. So in the past, the car fails when there's oncoming traffic. It gets really erratic, and it always requires a disengagement. So anyways, without further ado, let's go for a drive and see how it does on the Northeast Minneapolis Test Loop here. Still pretty hesitant there. So, you know, it was not honestly that bad in previous releases. And again, you see here I gotta adjust the speed quite a bit here as it's gonna try to jump these train tracks and speed down my neighborhood there. But I mean, I'm gonna report that behavior back there. So this unprotected left turn here onto 37th Avenue Northeast has always been pretty good with all the 10.69 builds, so hopefully it will do the same here. Traffic to our left here. There's a little bit of an occlusion here on the left, but again, you see the car does a great job, inching out. We weren't in the lane of traffic there, so really good stuff there. And you can see again here, the car is not making that mistake that it made from pretty much 10.12 until the beginning of the public beta builds of 10.x, where the car would try to get in the turn lane on the right there, which is turn only, and then try to go straight. You did see a little bit of weirdness there with Planet where it hesitated like it wanted to go left, which is kind of interesting. I didn't see that in the previous 10.69 builds that I got, but it still did the right thing, so I'm not going to report it. I just kind of thought that was interesting. Great job with that intersection there. Haven't seen any issues with any of the 10.69 builds there, so. This is the intersection of 37th Avenue Northeast and 5th Street Northeast, and so far throughout each of the 10.69 builds, it's hesitated a bit too much here. It's empty right now. There's no cars here, and as you can see, the car is still really, really hesitant. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. It looked like maybe there was a pedestrian there, so I'll have to go back and watch the video later, but that continues to be a problematic intersection for whatever reason with 10.69. So, no differences between the 10.69 builds, but overall, that is definitely a regression from what we've seen in the previous builds, especially the 10.12. It was much more confident at that intersection, so I'm not sure why it regressed there, but and as you're seeing here, again, we're seeing continued better behavior where the car does stay more to the right on these wider unmarked roads. So again, good stuff to see. I'd maybe be over another foot or two, to be honest with you, because there's some manhole covers here. I have nice wheels that I don't want to ding, but overall, good stuff. And honestly, very confident behavior with those bikers back there. No hesitation on the throttle. That was very good. I feel like I would have seen a little bit more hesitation in 1.1 or .1. So I'm consider that an improvement so far. Obviously, we'll hopefully see some more pedestrians and more foot traffic here towards the end of this route. We'll kind of confirm that one way or the other. This is another intersection here that's been problematic through pretty much all the builds. We have some traffic here, so let's see how much we hesitate. So this guy's going right, so that was great. Yeah, that's an awesome approach that intersection there. We didn't overly hesitate. We didn't, I have to say the sun is very bright right now, so I'm going to try to put my visor down as much as I can, block your view. But that was the best handling of that intersection I've seen so far. Obviously, I have to come and do this route a few more times. I'm going to be doing this route in the morning tomorrow again, so we'll definitely see if the handling of the intersection is for sure improved in this build. But it's been problematic for it, especially when there's traffic there, but also when there's not. So again, I'm optimistic that that is for sure an improvement. Unfortunately, this bug is still there, where the car signals like it wants to go into the oncoming lane. That's been there throughout each of the FSD Beta builds that I've seen, so I'm going to continue to report that behavior. Not sure what it's seeing or why it's doing that. If it's my suspicion is bad map data, but who knows? Can't see the navigation tiles. Only Tesla can see those. So something is telling it there to signal and try to get over, but that would be the unwise move considering that these are directional lanes. That would be the oncoming traffic lane if we move to the left. So. The car didn't want to navigate, towards that curb like it did in previous builds. I want to say it was either in 1.1 or 0.1 where the car was kind of aiming for that curb there and trying to use that dead space. I haven't seen that, so that's a definite improvement. Again, I'm going to be coming through part of this route tomorrow morning, but and you can see there it wants to really stray too much to the center. So again, I'm going to report that, but obviously it's one of those things where it definitely catches itself and gets over again. But if somebody was approaching, they'd be kind of concerned, I bet. So. Oh wow, there's some deer right here. Wow. Do not expect to see deer right in Minneapolis here, but we're pretty close to the river, so that's kind of cool. One thing there, we did get over to the right too far. We have cars approaching from both our right and left, so we are inching out into the traffic lane. So far, we are actually clear of the traffic lane, but we're right on the edge. And that was awesome. I mean, you couldn't have done that better. It got in the right lane after it made the turn. It didn't inch out into the intersection. I mean, really good stuff there. So that, very, very promising to see. I want to say that's definitely an improvement from what we've seen, with the previous 69 builds. Obviously, the unprotected left turns are noticeably better, but I had a video, I think it was 0.1 or 1.1, I can't remember, where the car at that same intersection was basically in the lane of traffic, in the rightmost lane, when there was oncoming traffic, which, we definitely went when we could, but it's not good behavior to inch that far out. So that was better handling of that. Obviously, we're going to be doing a bunch more unprotected left turns to confirm if that's an improvement or not. But that's the sort of behavior we need to see at those type of intersections. A little bit of hesitation here. I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's because of the cones or what, but I will report that. It eventually made the right steering inputs there. Yeah, I'm not sure what the car was doing there. It was definitely making too tight of a turn. So in the previous videos and turns I've done with that intersection there, the car did a great job of staying to the right and not trying to cut that corner. So that is definitely something that it shouldn't have done. Not sure why it did that. And we're getting a little confused here and definitely annoying some drivers around us here. So I gave it a little bit of a throttle input there to get in front and get back. But that confusion with that intersection back there, I've seen in previous drives on this road here. So I'm not sure if it's a mapping issue. Again, it tries to do the right thing, but it does it too late. a slight bit of hesitation here as it inches out here to get better visibility. Traffic does just appear very much the last second from the left back there. So, you know, the car did, I think, better than it's done before. I had a drive, I think it was in 1.1, where the car just, you know, wanted to sit at that intersection. We had people behind us. People get very impatient, especially in this part of town where they are in a hurry. So it's one of those things where you can't hesitate too long. I felt like what the car did there was just the right amount, right? It was maybe a second or two at the most. So again, I feel like this is a much more confident build in terms of the behavior, just from what I've seen so far. But again, like you saw back there on Dowling, it really struggles a little bit too much when the map data is still differing from the, you know, what the actual road layout is. So it's doing better at figuring things out on the fly. I know that's something that they definitely have to get right if their approach is ever going to work. We're moving over to the right here. It looks like it's figuring it out. So that's very consistent with what I've seen in 1.1 and .1 as well, where the car wants to go to the right lane, which I would say incorrectly did in previous builds before this. But then it figures it out. It stays to the left. So it ultimately does the right thing, but it does insinuate like it wants to go back there. So I'm not sure if that's based on map data or what, but it's whatever logic is in these newer builds, in the 69 builds, it's definitely working there. Obviously, it could be a bit more confident. There's a room for improvement there, but otherwise it does the right thing. So very good stuff there. Again, no hesitation around pedestrians there. So again, just confidently proceeding past exactly what we want to see. We're going to be coming across, I think, more pedestrians here as we get closer to the Plymouth Avenue Bridge, as there's always runners and things like that up there. So looking forward to seeing if this good behavior so far with VRUs continues. So a little bit abrupt on the brakes there, but it wasn't going off and on again, which I absolutely do not like. So I'm fine with it, you know, going and then stopping and then just sitting there. So we're in the intersection now, as I would be doing if I was driving. So this is good behavior so far. We have a lot of traffic here. So when this light turns yellow, we're going to have to be assertive here to complete this turn. Let's see what it does. It wants to go. All right, I'm going to give it a little throttle just to get us out of the intersection, but you know, overall, that is the right behavior to do, to get out in the intersection like that and wait for an opportunity. A Vikings game, I think, just got out, which is why there's so much traffic coming from the opposite direction there. But, you know, good stuff. It was not jerky. So this is the smoothest I've seen it handle intersections like that so far, which is really awesome to see, because that's been missing in a lot of the other builds that we've seen, pretty much all of them that I've seen. All right, the car's slowing down a little bit as it noticed that biker go, but it noticed it, you know, that biker proceed through the intersection there, across the crosswalk. All right, it hesitated a little bit too much there with that other bicyclist approaching. That bicyclist was no way going to go in the intersection there, but unfortunately we had a car really close behind us, so I did have to intervene there and apply some throttle input. So I will report that. That's the first occurrence I've seen where it just maybe over-hesitates a little bit too much with pedestrians there. I know what it's doing. It's predicting that cyclist is going to go out there, but it's not right, because that cyclist obviously would get run over by a car if they went at that time. So it should have, you know, just kind of continued on proceeding there. If it wanted to slow down gradually, sure, but with traffic close behind us, the wrong move is to kind of hit the brakes like we were going to there. So. A great job with that left turn there. No concerns or issues. That one's been pretty much bulletproof throughout, you know, the last, I'd say, like 3 FSD Beta builds I've tested. So that includes 10.12.2, 10.69.1, and then 1.1 as well. little bit of an abrupt stop there. The light's flashing. I'm guessing, I'm gonna have to proceed here. So, you know, when the lights are out of service like that one there, the car just kind of pauses. There's no message on the screen that says the driver has to intervene, but we do. So I wish the team would add a message there that says, you know, waiting for a user intervention or whatever, because it does get a little confusing. It should, in theory, detect out of service lights and treat it like a four-way stop, but it's not. And you'll see here again, this is an issue that I've experienced throughout each of the FSD Beta 10.x builds so far. When you're on University Avenue Northeast here, it wants to use the right lane as if it's a lane of traffic. It's really a parking lane except for 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So it's one of those things that a human driver would see these signs posted basically every 100 feet and adhere to them. But FSD would usually likes to try to get over in that right lane, you know, when we first get on this road about a mile back. And that causes a lot of problems, especially when there's busy traffic and whatnot. So we're supposed to turn right here. I'm not certain where we're going or what we're doing here, because we should have got over to the right, you know, and tried to get over again back there, but we seem to be sitting in the left lane here. And unfortunately now we have a car approaching from our rear here. Let's see what we do. We're gonna have to kind of cut in front of them or cut behind them here. Let's see what it does. I'm gonna let it do its thing. And there's a truck here. Yep, there's a truck now trying to pass on our right. So I had to disengage there. Let's see what it does. It should figure itself out. And again, the car is just really struggling at this intersection here, and confusing drivers around us here. So that was a really bad attempt there, in my opinion. And I think it kind of goes wrong from the get-go, right? Where it thinks it can use that rightmost lane, and it can't, and it shouldn't. It should stay out of there until the very, you know, maybe 100 or so yards before the intersection is when you want to get over and use it, if there's nobody parked there, right? And then you saw the handling of oncoming traffic. Unlike the intersection, you know, in Plymouth Avenue that we tried earlier, where it was great, there it got all sorts of confused when it saw that Prius back there. And now you see here, we're kind of really, I don't know where we're going here. We're going to the right now, so the struggles with this particular road and that particular section there continue with the 10.69 builds. It's very frustrating there. Some really bizarre behavior on this road. We were trying to sneak behind a turning car there right before a red light. I'm not sure why we'd be doing that sort of behavior there. Very bizarre. I can't explain why I would think that's a good idea. A little too much braking there with that car turning. That car was clearly going to be, you know, vacating the lane, so I don't think we needed to hesitate and hit the brakes that much. Alright, we have a left turn coming onto Stinson Parkway up here, and we're on Lowry right now, so let's see what we do here. We've got some pedestrians to our right. You know, honestly, pretty good behavior. A little jerky towards the end there, but, you know, very confident proceeding. A little too much corner speed, as we've seen at intersection before, where we hit the throttle a little too much. That gets a little jarring, but we didn't jam on the brakes when we picked up those pedestrians back there. We did confidently proceed. You know, we hesitated a little bit for oncoming traffic, as we should have. You know, again, could be a little smoother, but overall, you know, pretty solid. It's not hitting the brakes hard, getting on the throttle hard, and going back and forth. It was a little bit of hesitation, but I can handle that. So good stuff there. Or stay to the left. We should be staying to the left. And you see what we're doing here. We're using what should be considered dead space. And you can see it's cars park here all the time. So if somebody was behind us right now, they would be confused because we're making a left turn here. We should be aligning ourselves to the left-hand side of the road. So again, there's been no big improvements in this build so far that I can see over the previous 10.69 builds. I mean, overall, this has been one of the better builds so far. Getting good behavior with that pedestrian there. No choppiness in the throttle or brakes, just confidently proceeding as if it knows exactly what they're doing and confident they're not going to be coming into our path. All right, we're hesitating a little bit too much here, maybe for a brief second. So I'm going to still report that, but it's not nearly as bad as it was in previous builds where it would sit there for a few seconds when it was empty, almost always empty, and then it would just inch forward into the intersection. It would really annoy drivers behind us. So it's still not perfect. It still needs some work. But again, it's a lot better than it was. So, again, just want to stay positive here, but be constructive that there needs to be further improvement with intersections like that, where when we know it's clear, we just got to proceed. We can't sit there for, extra time. All right, we have a pedestrian on our left here that's crossed the intersection. They're out of our path. Let's just see if we are jerky on the brakes here. Honestly, smooth as butter there. You can't make a better right turn, so really good stuff there. I might take over here. Yeah, the same behavior is still there, where we're making a swooping turn to the left here, and we're trying to use dead space to make that turn. There is no reason to be doing that. So we had traffic really close behind us back there. And again, I had to adjust the speed there because, again, the neighborhood speed limit has been wrong from the get-go and continues to be broken there, so it requires me to intervene. But that behavior, swooping to the right, it needs to be fixed at some point here, because it really confuses human drivers when you're basically turning across the active lane of traffic there, and it can cause an accident if people aren't safe. So if people are tailgating us back there, it's still a big concern of mine. Good job at there. It did overly hesitate there at dot one. Seemed to be better in dot one. So again, continuation of that behavior. So, overall, I don't see anything in this build that would prevent it from going out to the broader group of testers. So for all those patiently waiting, I hope you do get this update. Just obviously be aware, it's not perfect. It's not the one you're going to fall asleep behind. Obviously, this is beta software. You got to be paying attention at all times. But I would say maybe a minor improvement over 1.1 and just the way it handles VRUs, being properly assertive in that one intersection back there. That's the behavior I haven't seen so far. So, they're building on the improvements they've made in 10.69 overall, but obviously there's still room for improvement. So overall, good stuff. We will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.